All right. I'm going to go with nobody believes in us, which is the general idea is like, which player team do you lack confidence in despite their early playoff success? And I'm sorry, I'm going to be a hater here a little bit, but I think this is the Cavs for me. It's not that I think that I don't believe in them to finish off the Magic, although I had picked the Magic before the series because I did not love the energy of the way the Cavs ended the season and then also maneuvering into the 4-5 matchup. But they go up 2-0. They have not trailed in the series. Like, credit to them. They found the matchup they wanted and they have performed well in it. Donovan Mitchell has a little bit more burst than he had previously. He's dunked twice in this series after dunking only once since the All-Star break, which is kind of a good deal. But you sort of zoom out a little bit and they've been better on the defensive glass, which is huge considering that was such a huge problem with them against the Knicks last year. But the starting lineup is still like barely net positive against a Magic team that just can't score. They're winning the Mobley and Allen minutes, but they're scoring 1 point per possession to do it. And that's not going to be a sustainable recipe for success, I don't think. Max Strus, George Niang, who they were the answer to the question of how do we space the floor better for our guys, are 2 for 18 combined from 3 in these first couple of games. And, Donovan, as much as he's looked better with his burst, still 5 for 18 from deep. It doesn't seem to have his touch there. And even when you get past that, on the other side is Boston, right? So they've won 2 games, which is all you can ask for. I guess I'm the nobody believes in us guy on them because I'm like, I don't know that you fundamentally changed or resolved the questions we had about you. I don't know that these 2 wins or even 4 wins in this series is going to do it, but I guess there's still something to be said for just winning a series. They have not done that. So there's something to be said for that, but it's still, I find myself coming away from it a little bit cold.
I'm ready to buy some stock in the Cavs. And
tell me why.
I've been in this position of, 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out for most of the season, because to your point, it has been so up and down. And the way that they were playing, not only just Mitchell's injury, but the sort of vibes that seem to emanate from that just looked so bad that going into the postseason, I was like, okay, this isn't the time to unfurl this deep-seated but hidden belief I have in this Cleveland team. So to me, I think some of their problems are things that just have really simple solutions. Yes, I don't like their starting lineup. I think there's a reason that their best stretch this season came when there were a number of injuries. I think they just looked like a team that made a lot more sense when Garland was out and when Mobley was out because, it allows just a clean pick and roll game with, Donovan Mitchell, one of the best guys in the league at that, and Jarrett Allen rolling to the rim, bunch of shooters. I'm not really worried about Niang and Max Strus not hitting their shots going down the line. To me, that's just almost more encouraging. Okay, you're beating the brakes off of the Magic, and Max Strus is every 6 games he's fucking Michael Jordan. So I'm not stressed about Max Strus ever. And I think he's one of those guys that he brings that element that they were missing against the Knicks last year. I also, they were a team that was very open about the fact that, the famous Jarrett Allen Bleacher Report cut now of the lights were too bright. I don't think it's a bad thing to admit that. If anything, I covered a Raptors team pre-Kawhi for years that just pretended that they never had any issues with the spotlight in the playoffs. And it was always an X's and O's thing. And they were just on the line. And it was, I think, they were never really talented enough to get past LeBron anyway, but they also always shrunk in the postseason. And I think part of that had to do with the fact that they got tagged with this reputation that they were never really willing to fully own that they deserved it. And I think that I respect that Cleveland, because it wasn't just Allen, it was everybody, kind of came out and said, yeah, that wasn't okay. We were not good. I would much rather have that than to see you do that and then pretend it was X's and O's.
Right.
I also think that the weirdness of their starting lineup is due to the fact that they have a lot of variability in what they are able to do. And my biggest thing with them is will they figure out the right rotations at the right time? And I think I've seen moments in this season where Bickerstaff has. I've seen moments this season where he hasn't. But your finishing lineup does not have to be your starting lineup. And I think at a certain point, the rubber hits the road, and maybe you just say, okay, Evan Mobley, you got to go to the bench right now. But for now, I also, you compare it to a team like the Knicks. I look at one of the biggest problems the Knicks are having right now is that Jalen Brunson is like their only creator. So with Garland and Mitchell, you have a problem, but you have one of those good problems in that sometimes the lineup that gives you your best net rating is also the easiest one to flatten out at the same time. So they have, there's 40,000 reasons not to believe in Cleveland. But I think, they've got one of the few lineups that I think can deal with Boston going 5 out, for example. They're going to have enough shot creation between Mitchell and Garland if they stagger those correctly. I love Max Strus. I think he's one of the best Jason Tatum defenders in the NBA. And you can get freaky with some stuff. Like let's get 10 minutes of like Mitchell and Sam Merrill running pick and pops when Boston's defense just finds a way to crush everything else. So yeah, I like Cleveland. I've liked them all season. I've probably liked them more than everybody else, and generally that usually means that I'm wrong, but I'm gonna ride with them.
No, I think there's something to be said for standing up for your convictions. And also, as I say, I'm not a believer. Like, momentary shout out to Isaac Okoro, who was basically like the avatar for all the things that weren't working with the Cavs last year in the playoffs, where it's like, he's the reason you can sag off. He's the reason you can't, the lottery pick that you can't keep on the floor when it matters, and who has made tangible, significant improvements to his game to make himself into somebody who, at least through the first couple of games of this series against an elite defensive team, has been able to stay on the floor, has been able to make an impact and create a little bit more for them going around. So